acts of violence against anyone, let alone journalists who come to the party premises to, do their normal job of reporting to the people to know what is happening within the party and at the party premises. I mean, the party leadership, didn't budge. There was nothing from the party leadership. In fact, we went ahead to formally petition the chairman of the party to say that what happened, if the party failed to condemn it, it would amount to an endorsement of what had happened. And of course, we know that one of the dangerous things to happen in journalism, and especially on safety of journalists, is when there seem to be impunity for crimes against journalists.
And on that point, you see, when you listen to Nano Buahi's statement, and I'm not going to pretend that it captures the view of the party officially, but if we ask that, are they going to punish or have any punitive measures meted out against, what's the name, Hajia Fatih? He says, not now and not in the foreseeable future. Do you get the sense that the demand that the likes of you, myself, everybody is making, that the party should sort of punish Hajia Fatih to serve as a deterrent for other people, is going to happen?
Well, you see, it's important to point out that Nano Buahi, as we speak, is the Deputy General Secretary of the party. And that's, for me, a very senior person in the party. And this is somebody, when the previous incident happened, and there were calls for apology, there were calls for condemnation, he had said on one network, and I was on that interview with him, that, I mean, one can also ask, why did the journalists even come there? Who had invited them to come there?
They were there to do our work.
And so if this is the conduct and the attitude of a senior official of the party, then you can understand why I'm saying that the place is becoming unsafe for journalists. And this is not the first time. The previous incident had happened. It involved 4 journalists from 3 different media organizations. There were calls for condemnation. We went ahead to petition. Nothing had happened. And indeed, this particular incident that we're talking about, involving the journalists from multimedia, when did the incident happen?
On Friday.
On Friday. And why would it take the party, more than 3 days to come up with a statement? And that statement in itself is not, in any way apologizing. That statement
that they issued capture the kind of response that you expected from the party?
Not at all, because given the overwhelming condemnation, one would have expected that by acknowledging the fact that this incident happened at the party headquarters, the party would have then said, okay, we are sorry, we apologize for what had happened. Nobody had said that it is the NDC, the MPP as a party that had, perpetrated this violence on this journalist, but then an activist. So for the party to say that we distance ourselves, it appears to me that the question is, had anyone accused the MPP, as a political entity that had perpetrated this act? I think we were talking about an activist, and the fact that it happened at the headquarters. And for me, what is also crucial is not for us to take this as an isolated incident, but then, it adds on to previous incidents that had happened. And the same Hajia Fatih, when this matter of your colleague, Kwachia Frenwama,
yes,
and the sanitation minister came up, I mean, it was on record that he had actually also called to threaten him. So it is not the first time. And so if these things have happened, why would you expect that it is not right to conclude that the place is becoming quite unsafe for journalists to practice? Because you go there, you are beaten, and the party either disregard the incident and condones it. And here is the Deputy General Secretary saying that, no, the party is not embarrassed by the activity of his party members.
Sule, I want to thank you so much for your time this evening. I'm indeed very grateful. Suleiman Obaima, Executive Director of the Media Foundation for West Africa. Let me just say that we have information that Hajia Fatih was invited by the police today. There is an official complaint that has been launched by the multimedia group to the police on this. We await police investigations, knowing that there has been an open admission of this particular act by Hajia Fatih herself. But interested parties are punching holes in the right to information bill. According to them, there are too many exemptions in the bill, especially with information from the presidency. The groups want those issues reviewed before the bill is passed into law by Parliament.
Representatives from the Ghana Journalists Association, Commonwealth Human Rights Initiative Africa Office, Alliance for Integrity, the United States, Australia and UK, and Pence Plus Bites, among others, were at the Stakeholders Conference organized by Parliament. The forum was to receive oral submissions aside the memoranda it had received. The stakeholders raised concerns the exemptions in the bill are just too many.
For example, information from the office of the Vice President is exempt. But when you are talking about exemptions, the standard is that the exemptions should be narrow, because access to information is about access. It is not about exemptions. Now, if you are going to exempt, the exemption should be issues-based and not office-based or government agency-based, for it to say that information from Parliament or information from Cabinet or information from the Vice President's office is exempt.
The RTI is not a media-specific law. It's a people's law, which will empower the people to demand information they need for their daily lives, which will enhance their daily lives. And our business thrives on quality information, credible information.
Chairman of the Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs, Ben Abdallah, agreed some of the exemptions may have to be looked at again when the committee meets.
A lot of the presenters who came to do their presentations have raised fundamental and critical issues with respect to, for instance, the application fee regime. That why should an applicant be asked to pay a fee for information that has already been paid for by the taxpayer's fee? This reasoning to me sounds to some extent persuasive.
Earlier, the Attorney General and Minister of Justice was of the conviction that a bill is essential for good governance and hopes the stakeholder conference would help achieve that purpose. Second Deputy Speaker Alban Bagbin believes the bill, when passed, would serve as a reference point to other countries. Majority Leader Oseche Mensah-Bonsu stressed the need for welfare of information seekers to be well defined, or it could trigger other acts that have been passed. After this meeting, the Joint Committee on Communications and Constitutional Legal will travel to Akonsombo, where the committee will further work on the bill before presenting it to Parliament.
Let's turn to some other news this evening, as board of Ghana Cylinder Manufacturing Company has suspended its CEO, Francis Isiam. This is after a confrontation between the management led by the CEO and the board of the company. Meanwhile, the Ghana Cylinder Manufacturing Company has been shut following tension between the Francis Isiam-led management and board of the same company. The over 60 workers of the company have been asked to stay home, while customers waiting to do business have been left stranded. Now, TV3 reporter Sarah Parku, who was present at the company, reports the gates and premises of the hitherto busy organization have been shut and isolated with no sign of business going on. According to her, about 35 customers have been turned away with a no gas inscription boldly written at the precincts of the company. The underlying current of the issue is a surge of chaos, accusation and counter-accusation at the top-level management of the organization. The finance and accounts manager, Julius Opuni Asamoah, has been sacked by the management over some alleged procurement breaches, and he has petitioned the board accusing the CEO, Francis Isiam, of some malfeasance. The board was expected to have a meeting to address the issues raised in the query, but were locked out of the premises upon the instructions of the CEO, Francis Isiam.
Well, the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Cylinder Manufacturing Company, Francis Isiam, described the query by the board addressed to him, asking for answers concerning the alleged disposing off of obsolete equipment without the knowledge of the board, amongst others, as one born out of malice. She said this in an earlier telephone interview.
I am a government appointee, a chief executive officer of Ghana Cylinder Company, a company that was completely broken down. I was sent here to revamp. I've not been given one CD with a hole in it up to today to work here. We are an internally generated funded company. It is by the goodwill of our suppliers that we have moved on. So if a board chairman, Honorable Achin, former member of parliament, who by the goodwill of the president has been nominated by the president, appointed by the minister to preside over the affairs of Ghana Cylinder, accusing me of impropriety, all those things are a barrage of lies. And I have supervening authority. The courts of Ghana are there to do justice to those who are defamed, libeled, and slandered, because even our customary law is recognized in court. The letter born out of hatred and malice for a board chairman to go this far.
In some other news, the La Nkwantanan Medina municipality says negotiations are ongoing to involve the army in its eviction of squatters at the Medina Redco flats. This follows the refusal of some squatters to relocate.
The slum, located close to the Redco flats at Medina, is home to some 5,000 squatters of various nationalities, including Liberians, Nigerians, Ghanaians, and Ivorians. The demolition work, which was undertaken on Sunday dawn, witnessed a combined team of policemen and the Assembly's task force reducing many of the structures to rubble. Some buildings were, however, not touched, including churches and mosques and some private property. The squatters have also refused to move out. The Municipal Coordinating Director of the La Nkwantanan Municipality, Charles Ashalejani, says they are involving the armed forces in the eviction exercise.
We are talking about 48 engineers regiment. They have the equipment. You know what? The equipment that we used wasn't stronger that day. That's why we had a longer period. But there are other structures that we want to bring them down. The people, once they are still there, we shouldn't take chances.
Some of the squatters are pleading for more time.
When you destroy the house of God, must you destroy the mosque? It's not easy. I just kneel down my knee and then begging the directors.
1 million vote now. NDC lose here.
The NDC lost 1 million votes because after they evicted us from aviation land, they did not resettle us. So we plead with this government to be lenient on us.
On MTN Video Report today, Samson Teria, a citizen journalist, reports on the poor state of Odaho RC Primary School in the Amansie South District, which needs urgent attention.
This edifice is a building that is used by the Odaho RC Kindergarten 1 and 2. It is an abode for sheep and goats. I am just standing in front of a classroom block which houses the class 4 and 5 people. The wall has a lot of cracks. The windows have been veered off. Looking at the nature of the cracks and the deficit in its setup. Reporting, Teria Samson, Manson.
Oh, you can also send your video reports via the WhatsApp number 055-1433-044, 055-1433-044. Let's now find out how the weather will be throughout the night into tomorrow morning.
We're still live here on NEWS360, watching us all across the world on 3news.com. We've got some more news, some news from the world of business coming up shortly. Stay with us.
I am Mrs. Benedicta Foley, the headmistress of Pope John Senior High School, established in 1958, is 60 years old and needed a facelift before the celebration. We wrote to a number of companies and the Luxy Paint came.
It's still News 360. Good evening to you and thanks for staying with us. My name is Nana Ekuya Mensah, coming away with the business detail. And to very first story tonight, Vice President says government is considering a partnership agreement with Guinea to raise enough revenue in mining bauxite in the country. Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia said the agreement will assist both countries control 70% of the world's natural resources, and he made the observation at an economic forum organized by the IMF here in Accra.
Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia was disturbed some mining companies have duped the state. Though he declined listing their names, he assured of reviewing all operations at the mining sector. Of a major concern to him now is the bauxite ore, which is yet to be properly mined to raise revenue. He spoke about a new partnership agreement with Guinea in mining the bauxite mineral.
There is no reason why Guinea and Ghana cannot cooperate to develop their bauxite resources to the greatest benefits to their citizens. After all, between the two of them, they will control more than 70% of the world's bauxite resources. That's what we will control. What is needed is a regional strategy to mineral resource development from gold to bauxite to manganese and iron in order to move up the global value chain for each of these minerals.
Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia explained government will deal with companies which have duped the state through mining.
The carried interest in mining is virtually useless as far as Ghana is concerned because we are earning zero for it. And we need to relook at this whole regime because zero is because companies are not making profits to pay dividends, but they keep mining. It's just very difficult to reconcile how you can be mining for all these years and not be making profits. It doesn't make sense.
The Economic Forum was to discuss the 2017 growth in the sub-Saharan Africa. Issues about job creation and domestic resource mobilization took center stage. In Ghana, the government is already in the final year of an IMF program which ends this year. The IMF African Director, Dr. Abebe Selassie, praised governments for strong macroeconomic policies. He was confident government can reach the completion point.
The last test date under the program is at the end of the year. Following that, we will do a review, and on the basis of that, the program will come to an end. And not in and of itself, but really to continue to bear down on debt levels which remain somewhat uncomfortable, and lower deficit will contribute to lower debt levels, which is what has been behind the improvements we've seen in recent years, and growth going up, inflation coming down, interest rates coming down, all of the good stuff that we've seen since 2014-15.
Other discussions at the Economic Forum focused on reducing growing public debt.
Well, so we'll stay a while longer at the Economic Forum talking about the mid-year budget review. The Ministry of Finance is to impose taxes on lands which have not been developed by their owners. Now, this, according to Ken Oforiatta, will be included in the introduction of property tax, which will be part of the mid-year budget review. And he was speaking at that news conference, the Economic Forum organized by the IMF.
Finance Minister Ken Oforiatta took the decision following a proposal by the Senior Minister Yaw Safo-Mafo. The Senior Minister expressed concern about low levels of revenue generated by the local assemblies from property. He recalled that in 2017, the government only received 31 million cedis from property rates alone. The amount was generated by the Accra and Kumasi Metropolitan Assemblies. However, other assemblies cannot be accounted for. Again, in Greater Accra alone, only 10.3 million cedis was generated, which the Senior Minister alluded affected government revenue. He has therefore proposed to the Finance Minister to impose taxes on empty lands to shore up government revenue.
You must pay to keep it empty, or you sell it. And if the tax continues to go up, this is happening in Canada and other areas. You can't just buy the plot, leave it there. The people have to jump you and go and expand. The city is just sprawling. Any empty plot we see has an owner, and they will come the moment you get there, the owners will come. You have to pay some taxes.
Minister of Finance Ken Ofori-Atta says the ministry will consider the proposal by the senior minister.
Key issues in going there. But we've had meetings with stakeholders already about possibilities. So we'll go through the whole gamut. I mean, obviously, we've talked about property taxes, and that would be affected one way or the other with the media reviews. I pray so.
In another development, the Finance Ministry is to initiate steps to review the tax exemptions for mining companies. The Sector Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, was disturbed some mining companies are duping the state.
I suspect that both the fund and the World Bank, will have to look at interventions around capacity building and technology that is sort of tried and tested, and suggest those as to areas that become a core part of this whole sustaining of our economic development.
The IMF African Director, Dr. Abebe Selassie, pledged to provide technical assistance to review operations of mining companies. Both the Ministry of Finance and IMF agreed that such reviews will spearhead the Ghana Beyond aid.
Right, so let's move away from the Economic Forum. And the Vice President of Imani Ghana, Kofi Bentil, has recommended governments concentrate on gas as a key factor for the country's development instead of the reliance on crude oil. Now, he noted Ghana cannot have much control over oil production because of the dynamics of financing in the upstream petroleum sector.
On the sidelines of a lecture on the critical future of Ghana's energy sector and how to avoid more surprises to Ghana's growth prospects, Kofi Bentil emphasized emotional attachment to crude oil for development is not right. He noted that type of attachment stopped the country from planning for areas that the country needs to really plan.
You have an FPSO, which is the basis for lifting the crude oil, taking it out of the ground. That cost $4 billion, and that was financed by somebody. Our total national investment in the upstream sector, trying to drill the oil, is less than 10%. So you can't have control over that sector.
Kofi Bentil is at a loss why Ghana is still focusing on and trying to get more revenue from crude oil.
People are talking about, we should get a bigger share, etc. You can't get it if you are not putting the money in it. Okay, and we do not have the money, honestly. If even government had money, we do not have, or we should not be investing that kind of money in, for instance, an FPSO. Okay, which is why it's important what the MPA said about where we are with the gas plant. Okay, so I think that is where really your interest should be.
The Vice President of Imani suggested the country should try and take charge of what can affect the ordinary people in the economy. Kofi Bentil said the use of gas should rather be the catalyst for development.
And to some developments from the banking sector, former staff of SYUT and Capital Banks have appealed to the president to intervene in helping them retrieve their exit pay. Now, they say even after petitioning the Bank of Ghana, much attention has not been paid to their concerns.
Former employees of the defunct UT Bank have appealed to the government to help them secure their exit package to alleviate the financial hardship they are enduring currently. Addressing the media at a press conference, a former staff of the bank, Edem Adimado, noted the lack of interest by the central bank is discomforting.
It is unfortunate that 8 months down the line, we have not received our exit pay. Majority of us are jobless, and the few who were lucky to have been employed by GCB Bank are also worse off in terms of remuneration. For our former colleagues at Capital Bank, it's instructive to note that their end-of-service benefit, which they contributed from their own salaries on a monthly basis and was invested on their behalf by CBL Investments, has not been paid despite instructions from the receiver to do so. we would like to pose a simple question to CBL Investments. Is our ESB missing?
They want discounts on loans that were granted them by their former banks and also payment in cash of their accumulated leave days.
To meet personal obligations, employees were also given some loans. As per basic rules governing credit, our staff loans were taken for specific tenor. However, these extraneous circumstances have contrived to truncate the tenor and also deprive us of our livelihood. As responsible citizens and bankers, we are mindful of our obligations, and as such, we are rightfully asking for our loans to be discounted so we can discharge our obligations to the receiver accordingly.
The Bank of Ghana revoked the license of the two banks after it declared them insolvent in 2017.
Right, so you can get more details of banking happenings on 3news.com as well as more business updates. My name is Nanikia Mensah Brampa, and we continue our walk to Mother's Day with Alfred.
Lovely, isn't it? So she's a single mother of 7 children and 4 grandchildren. Even with a deformity on her right arm, she's determined to bring up her kids to become responsible citizens. As Ghana readies to join the rest of the world to celebrate Mother's Day, Sarah Paku tells the inspiring story of 45-year-old Vivian Ajite.
Vivian Ajite got bent on her tummy and right arm at the age of 15. Her dream of becoming a dressmaker was crushed. To ache a living, she has settled to washing of clothes. This she's been doing for close to 15 years. She has 7 children and 4 grandchildren to fend for. Vivian has single-handedly managed to see 6 of her children through junior high school. She gives pocket money to all 7 children and 4 grandchildren daily before leaving for work. According to Vivian, the conviction to see her children become responsible adults motivates her to take care of them in her own small way. When day breaks, I'm anxious to put food on the table, so I do all I can as a mother. I wish I can add a business. Her eldest son, Godfred Kote Nikwe, is appreciative of the sacrifices she has made to raise them.
I'll build her a house and buy her a car in future to appease her soul.
Madam Ellen Afamdazi is a client to Vivian for 5 years.
The first time that they introduced Vivian to me, in fact, seeing her disability, I nearly turned her back. I decided to give her a try. And she was very good at what she did. She just washed the things. In no time, she was done with it. And anything you tell her to do, even outside the washing, she will do it.
As a single mother with deformity, Vivian is determined to work hard to support her children to become responsible citizens. For TV3 News, Sarah Paku.
No, I mean, a mother's love is simply amazing.
Yeah, I mean,
a father's love as well.
The resolve to get it done is the most important thing, and you're going to be seeing a lot more of this ahead of Mother's Day as we celebrate. I would expect this same on Father's Day as we go on, but
hopefully
we'll be back shortly with some more news. Stay with us.
News at 10. We're live from our studios here at Adisauri.
When you miss News 360 at 7 p.m. because of a busy schedule, we'll serve you again with a smart recap tonight at 10 p.m. with a detailed dissection of the major news of the day, so you are never left behind.
They punched my face, used the gun to hit my wrist.
News at 10. News with a broader perspective.
My name is Stephen Enti. See you tonight at 10.
In 2013, we shaped the course of national policy with compelling stories on education and health. In 2016, we provided the platform for political parties and the socially excluded to engage on issues of national concern. TV3 Mission is back with a bang. We navigate the turbulent terrain of deprived and hard-to-reach communities.
It's one message for person access to teaching,
empowering women to provide about. We focus our sharp lenses on the health and educational needs of the socially excluded to influence policy interventions that promote inclusiveness. And it tells you how serious we will get you resolved. Mission Ghana, live on NEWS360. Mission is supported by Star Ghana with funding from Danida, DFID and the European Union.
Log on to www.3news.com for more news and updates of our major stories. Join us on Facebook 3newsgh for live streaming and comments on our page. Like and follow us on Twitter at 3newsgh and at 3sportsgh. Like our pictures on Instagram, TV3 Network. If you missed our live shows, watch a playback on YouTube, TV3GH. TV3, first in news, best in entertainment.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to Sports News Time on NEWS360. My name is Michael Utieje. Let's get straight into the stories and the picture in the background. Swansea City up against Southampton. Big game as far as the relegation.
Log on to www.3news.com for more news and updates of our major stories. Join us on Facebook 3newsgh for live streaming and comments on our page. Like and follow us on Twitter at 3newsgh and at 3sportsgh. Like our pictures on Instagram, TV3 Network. If you missed our live shows, watch a playback on YouTube, TV3GH. TV3, first in news, best in entertainment.
With a 2-week break, the break, according to the professional league bodies, to allow Aduana Stars clear a backlog of up to 5 outstanding games. The interruption in the calendar will feed into the hands of those who say the league is suffering from poor organization, but the professional league board says it was very important to do this. We spoke to their communications director, Tamim Isa.
If you look at the fixtures, we are already in week 12. And then we have 3 games to the end of the first round. And you look at the number of games the Aduana Stars have played. They have now 6 outstanding matches. And they are still in the CAF Confederations Cup. Next week, Wednesday, they will be playing Raja Casablanca here in Ghana, which means that they will have their 7th outstanding match. And it really won't look good on the table if Aduana have 7 games to clear when others have played 15 games. Bekum Chelsea also have an outstanding match with Elmina Sharks due to the non-availability of the Golden City Park during the Easter holidays. So it's really a tight schedule. And we don't want a situation where we will start the second round and then suddenly the board will say, oh, we are breaking the league for 1 outstanding match to be cleared. When the league gathers momentum, you come again that you are breaking for another outstanding match to be cleared. So the board took this decision to halt the league for week 13 and 14. So some of the outstanding games will be cleared beginning on Thursday and then this weekend.
Stop, start Ghana Premier League. We'll wait for when the calendar for the second round will be made available to us. Over in Sweden, the trial has begun of Ghanaian footballer Kingsley Safo, who is alleged to have had sex with a minor. Safo, who was capped by the Black Stars last year, faces up to 10 years in prison if he's found guilty. Sports journalist Sadiq Adams has been following the story.
The problem started when the guys had wanted to move away from the agency that sent them to Sweden. And this is the place that they were offered girls. The girls were offered to them as friends. They do everything together. And this Kingsley Safo had even brought this white girl to Ghana during his mother's funeral. And so everybody thought that it was a lady he was actually looking into marrying, because that is why he told the family. The same for Kwame Bonsu. He had also married the girl legally, but they broke up. So immediately they broke up. Then there was this allegation that he had raped the same girl that he married. And now for Kingsley Safo, who was also in the same house with Kwame Bonsu, was offered a lady. He stayed with her for some time, and the lady has pressed charges of rape against him. And the lady, she alleges that she's a teenager, and so she's a minor, and she's been raped. And this matter is still in court. And the whole prosecution has started today, and the prosecutors are actually pressing for a 10-year jail term because it's a double rape issue with regards to Kingsley Safo. It's a very sad news, and it's something that the Ghanaian authorities, I have personally written to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs when Kwame Bonsu's issue came up. I wrote to the PFAG, that's the Professional Footballers Association of Ghana, and I've written to the GFA that at least they should be in collaboration with Ghana's ambassador to Sweden to be able to go through. I've read through the judgment of Kwame Bonsu, a 34-page document, and it's quite incoherent. The girl has been constructing herself, but everything has been written in Swedish language. And this is Kwame Bonsu, who cannot even speak proper English, let alone talk about what is being said in Swedish language. I think the Ghanaian authorities need to help the boys. If it's a genuine case of rape, nobody can fight for their rights. But if there is a setup as being, perceived or being alleged by the guys in question, something needs to be done.
We'll be keeping an eye on that story as it develops. Let's go back to the English Premier League, and Daniel Amate will miss Ghana's doubleheader of friendly games in Japan and Iceland after injury interrupted his season again with Leicester City. Amate returned.
Log on to www.3news.com for more news and updates of our major stories. Join us on Facebook 3newsgh for live streaming and comments on our page. Like and follow us on Twitter at 3newsgh and at 3sportsgh. Like our pictures on Instagram, TV3 Network. If you missed our live shows, watch a playback on YouTube, TV3GH. TV3, first in news, best in entertainment.
Remember, tomorrow is May 9, 17 years after the tragedy that rocked Ghana football. We bring you an exclusive interview with the referee at the center of the match at the time, Jacob Wilson. So we'll see you tomorrow evening, same program, same station. In the meantime, NEWS360 continues.
Lonely Mr. also has a problem.
Log on to www.3news.com for more news and updates of our major stories. Join us on Facebook 3newsgh for live streaming and comments on our page. Like and follow us on Twitter at 3newsgh and at 3sportsgh. Like our pictures on Instagram, TV3 Network. If you missed our live shows, watch a playback on YouTube, TV3GH. TV3, first in news, best in entertainment.
In 2013, we shaped the course of national policy with compelling stories on education and health. In 2016, we provided the platform for political parties and the socially excluded to engage on issues of national concern. TV3 Mission is back with a bang. We navigate the turbulent terrain of deprived and hard-to-reach communities.
To one message for person access to teaching,
empowering women to they provide about. We focus our sharp lenses on the health and educational needs of the socially excluded to influence policy interventions that promote inclusiveness.
And it tells you how serious
will get you resolved. Mission Ghana, live on NEWS360. Mission is supported by Star Ghana with funding from Danida, DFID and the European Union.
Log on to www.3news.com.
Welcome back to News 360. Now, leading news on the international front this evening. Donald Trump says he will withdraw the U.S. from an Obama-era nuclear agreement with Iran. Now, he called it decaying and rotten and said the deal was an embarrassment to him as a citizen.
With our allies and partners around the world, including France, Germany, and the United Kingdom. We have also consulted with our friends from across the Middle East. We are unified in our understanding of the threat and in our conviction that Iran must never acquire a nuclear weapon. After these consultations, it is clear to me that we cannot prevent an Iranian nuclear bomb under the decaying and rotten structure of the current agreement. The Iran deal is defective at its core. If we do nothing, we know exactly what will happen. In just a short period of time, the world's leading state sponsor of terror will be on the cusp of acquiring the world's most dangerous weapons. Therefore, I am announcing today that the United States will withdraw from the Iran nuclear deal.
Well, some rather surprising news coming in there. You can get more on that on our website. It's 3news.com. You're watching News 360. Coming up next is some entertainment news with Miriam Osei-Ajman.
Hello, good evening. My name is Miriam. Let's do some entertainment news here on NEWS360. So the 8th edition of Ghana Meets Niger has been launched, and Stonebwoy has been talking as well. Now, for the bill this year, representing Ghana is the likes of Stonebwoy, Kwame Eugene, King Promise, and the one kind of hit maker, aka Patapizi Patapa. Now, they will battle it out with Nigeria's Wizkid, Mayakun, Mr. Easy at this year's Ghana Meets Niger concert. The show would take place at the 20,000 capacity Fantasy Dome on June 9th. Owusu Warai was at the launch of the 8th Ghana Meets Niger concert, and he's got this for us.
Can we give it up for the lineup for 2018's Ghana Meets Niger?
The battle lines for the 8th Ghana Meets Niger have been drawn. Who has the finest of musicians, Ghana or Nigeria? Well, the argument will once again be settled at the 2018 Ghana Meets Niger. 8 showstoppers selected from Ghana and Nigeria will battle it out for supremacy come June 9. BET Award recipient Stonebwoy will lead the Ghanaian team. The Bawasaba hitmaker will be supported by Yapono, Ken Promise, Kwame Eugene, Kiddy, and the man of the moment, Patapa.
I'm also bringing on my A game. I have to make sure that people get it, from stage act to performance to delivery to selection of song. I'm revealing too much. Anyway, I'm ready for the battle.
Now, I guess small hit song.
Patapa, who is excited to be sharing the big stage for the first time, sees the face-off as a do-or-die affair.
Something is going to happen on the 9th of June. Ghana Meets Niger, where Patapa day top, that very day is going to be fire. So we need billions of people.
Hitmakers including Wizkid, Mayakun, and Mr. Easy will represent Nigeria.
Mr. Easy is on the bill this year as well. As for Mr. Easy, is he Ghanaian or Nigerian? That's the big debate. Once he hits the stage, who will he be?
So now you know what the lineup looks like for Ghana on the 9th of June. Away from that, but still staying with music, dancehall artist Stonebwoy says if anyone needs his services, they should contact his manager, Black City, not Xylophone Music. The Xylophone media sign musician comments is however in conflict with an earlier statement by Xylophone Group insisting persons interested in working with Stonebwoy should seek the express consent of Xylophone Media Company Limited. Stonebwoy seems to be least interested in that.
You are saying that anybody who wants to engage Stonebwoy should contact your management, city, or yourself, and we also know that you are a Xylophone signed artist, and so if anybody wants to engage you, they go straight to Xylophone, and that seems to contradict.
Yeah, it stays the same, and this is coming from the horse's own mouth. When you want to book Stonebwoy, you book Stonebwoy through Stonebwoy's management. You book me through my management, and my management team. My management, I repeat, is the Burniton Music Group. Head of management is Sidi Mohammed.
And can I go
Get to him. If you go to Xylophone, it's your own case. I can tell you from where you can get me. So that's what I'm telling you, from the horse's own mouth. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I listen to that part, yeah. I want to do that.
Well, I guess that answers the question that's been on a lot of minds, whether Xylophone, Stonebwoy is still with Xylophone or not. But you know where to go to if you want Stonebwoy to be on your stages. Not Xylophone, but Black City. My name is Miriam. There's more entertainment news on the 3news.com website.
Well,
yeah. That should, it indicates that they might have a problem, right?
What necessarily?
I don't even know what
I think you
right
just
now.
set the record straight. If you want to do business with Stonebwoy, you go to Black City and Xylophone.
Absolutely.
I don't think it suggests that there's a problem with. Maybe it's an agreement for people who want to, use the services to come to Black City and not Xylophone.
This is a kind of situation. Look, I'll spend my
It's quite an uncomfortable situation, but he
kind
knows.
of thinking. The drama is too much.
He hasn't said he's left Xylophone.
He hasn't.
He hasn't said that. He's only saying, if you want to do business with me, come to Black City.
Well.
Okay.
Now we know. Now we know.
We want to say thank you for spending 60 minutes with us here on NEWS360. On behalf of the rest of the team, we're grateful. My name is Alfredo Kansi.
I'm Natalie Fort. Visit our website, 3news.com, for some more news. Remember, news at 10 will simulcast on our sister station with Stephen Anti. That's 3FM 92.7. Coming up next is Sadia. Have a lovely evening.